Okay, so we're over to the screen. So let's get into this. So, as I say, last time I was talking to you guys, I gave you an update back in October, really emphasizing that it was time to get into Bitcoin. We've been talking about it before that. If you hadn't got in at that time, we wanted to tell you, look, get in. So hopefully you did. It went from 23 to 34. That made about $140,000 of difference for myself. Now prices at 60 to 70K, just depending. We're going between those points at the moment. We're about 64,000 as I speak. So a lot has been going on within the Bitcoin space. The halving came in last week on April the 20th, so I wanted to give you an update about that. What does it mean? How is it going to affect the price, and what's going to happen moving forward into this cycle? Are you too late to get into Bitcoin? I want to address that as well. And where we're going to be adding to our position for Bitcoin within our investment program, and what prices could we expect. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so look, what is the halving anyway? So I know a lot of you will know, but if you don't know, back in 2009, 21 million Bitcoin could be mined. And every roughly 4 years, the halving comes in. So it means that less rewards are given to the miners every 4 years approximately. Is actually on the back of the blocks that are mined, but roughly every 4 years that changes. So 50 blocks were given to the miners as a reward. 50 Bitcoin were given as a reward for each block, and that's moved all the way down to now just 3. So where we stand as of last week, 1.3 million Bitcoin left to be mined. So the supply is certainly diminishing. The next halving at the moment predicted to be April the 17th, 2028. It's going to be there, thereabouts. And again, you can see the block reward is going to halve again. So what's been going on? I think the major thing that we can talk about is the ETFs. Bitcoin getting slightly institutionalized with 9 ETFs being launched in America, the largest being BlackRock and Fidelity. Now, I want to really highlight here how much Bitcoin has been sucked up by these ETFs in the first 96 days. So look, the amount that was bought by the ETFs was pretty much just over 500,000. Grayscale, which was the only institutional way of buying Bitcoin before the ETFs. It was a trust. It was the largest Bitcoin trust, and it converted into an ETF, making it the largest ETF. However, they are charging 2% a year on fees, whereas BlackRock, Fidelity are around about 0.25%. So a lot of the Grayscale has been sold off for that reason and some various other reasons, which we won't go into now, were sold off. But in that period also, 86,000 Bitcoin have been mined. So keep these numbers in mind, that the supply around 80 million has been mined since the ETF launch. Grayscale have sold about 300,000, and what's been sold by everybody else is about 185,000 Bitcoin. If we just look at 11 players in the market in that period, Mr. 100, which we don't know who he is, but he has bought 19,000 Bitcoin. We guess that it's probably some sovereign fund that is buying this amount of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor has bought 25,000 Bitcoin, and the 9 ETFs have bought 527,000 Bitcoin. This equals that basically they've bought all of the supply that has been mined and that has been sold by everybody else. So over the since January the 10th, only 11 players bought up all of the supply of Bitcoin. So just sort of think about that. Here's a little bit of a more detailed view. We can see clearly that the largest players in this market, well, the top three rather, are BlackRock, Fidelity, and ARK. So start to think about what's happened in the last so many days. We can see averagely how many Bitcoin are being bought up by Fidelity and IBIT, which is the BlackRock ETF. Averagely 2,000, 4,000. Okay, GBTC has been selling 4,000, but if you add all of this up, yeah, the supply is clearly being eaten up. Now, pre the halving, 900 approximately Bitcoin could be mined a day. Post halving, as of last week, 450 Bitcoin can be mined per day. So even if we look at someone like Mr. 100, he is averagely been buying up pretty much most of the supply. The supply that's available at the moment is at roughly about $30 million a day. And if I'm not wrong, there's been about 130 to about $150 million averagely flowing into the ETFs. 93% of the supply has already been mined. So I pose this question, what's going to happen when GBTC stops selling? They've already sold over half, and that is since January the 10th. The supply is going to slowly dry up, and our view is that the price will start moving higher from that perspective. But at the moment, not all the players are in the market. Hong Kong announced that they're going to launch an ETF, which is actually launching on Monday, the 30th of April. So Hong Kong are coming into the market. That means that China is coming into the market. Hong Kong is the financial district for China. And if we look at the wealth of China in the world, the wealth between Hong Kong and China is about 21% of the global wealth. So what is going to happen as of Monday is going to be super exciting. Of not only we've got the American ETFs buying, we're going to add in China as well. And beyond that, there's going to be further ETFs opening up around the world, pushing that demand, and supply, as we can see, is certainly going down. Equally, we can see in the US, some of the wealth management funds starting to enter the space. It's been said before that if only 1% of global funds were allocated to Bitcoin, price would just be an absurd amount of money. But what we're seeing with these smaller funds right here at the top is that Legacy is allocated 6% of their portfolio, 4% for United. So these are a lot higher figures than we expected, and we'll see how these move forward as we see the filings coming in and how much they're buying of predominantly the Fidelity and the IBIT ETFs. So I just thought add this one in that, even these guys here, United Capital Management, are advertising on their homepage that they're coming for your coin. So all of these guys are buying up in the market. Okay, so I think the important thing is where could price go, and are you too late to get into Bitcoin at this stage? Personally, I don't think so. I think we have a long way to go, as you can see through the presentation, that there's a lot of players just getting into the market now, and there's a lot more to come. So I think we're going to see some higher pricing, but really, where could that go? So I thought I'd take a look back at what's happened in the previous halvings. The first halving, there was a 93 times return on capital, moving from $12 to a whopping $1,163. In the second cycle, a 30-time multiplier from $6,000 to $19,000. And in the last halving in 2020, there was an 8-time multiple of $8,000 to $68,000 being the highest price during that cycle. So what I thought is I'd just take those that we can see from 93 to 30, it's about a third. And from 30 to 8, also it's about a third. It actually comes out at 3.425. So I thought I'd take the current price around about the 65 level and multiply it by that. So we could be looking at a high in this cycle of around 222,000. Now, will that happen? We don't know, but certainly we haven't been in the situation before where we've had institutional involvement coming into the market. So I believe that we could see somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay, back off the screen. So look, I think the big question here is, have you missed the boat? And I don't think so. I think there's a lot of new players coming into the market. And as you can see from the reasons I've given you in the presentation, that the market should be pushed higher. Now, will this happen straight away? I don't think so. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I think we're into maybe a couple of months for price to move higher. Let's see what happens with the Hong Kong ETFs. If they start really pumping in money and GBTC stops selling, then I think, yes, price will move higher. Now, at the beginning of the presentation, I promised you that I would tell you exactly where we, within the Magnetic Investment Program, are looking to add to our Bitcoin investments. So that level is $58,000. It might go a little bit lower than that. There is a lot of what we call liquidation levels between 57,500 and 55, but we're looking to get in there, and we'll look at the price action and maybe get in again. I've tried to keep this video as short as I can, but there's been so much going on within the space. If you've liked what you heard, and even if you want more information, do get in touch at Cameron@magnetictrading.com. And we'll see you on the next video.